go. Give my guy 5 rings, baby. Give my guy 5 rings. Thunder, I love you. You're doing great. One more year. One more year is all I ask,
Oh
bro.
my goodness. His team is the best in the West, the
5?
best in the league. And he's like, no, give me one more year.
I just need 5, bro. And realistically, I need 6 and 6. But, Simon, go ahead, man.
Is this another example of you bragging about championships you weren't even freaking born?
Okay, LeBron's championships I was born for.
My
Okay.
God.
Okay?
And welcome back from that break that we needed to take because we had to wait on somebody to finally show up today. What's up, Feisty? How you doing?
Oh, man. You guys love this segment, don't you now? Good, man. Good. Just long day at work. You know how it is. Can't say why, but it was a long day at work.
Oh, man. Well, good thing you're here. Let's just get into some basketball, man. We've been waiting months and months to do this. So let's go with some news first. Big news for Utah. AJ Dybantsa. I do not know if I pronounced that name right at all. Probably didn't. But he's the number 1 overall recruit for this 2025 high school class, and he chose BYU to go to, man. Ryan Smith, BYU alum. NIL definitely coming into play here, man. That's crazy. He had offers from North Carolina, Alabama, Kansas, who we just saw Kansas lost to Utah and BYU in basketball. Don't know what's happening there, but yeah, big pickup for the Cougars, man. They might be the real deal here in a couple years.
I mean, I love it. I mean, now you're seeing these NIL deals come into play, especially, we
But
talked
you
about
like
football.
NIL deals?
Huh?
You like NIL deals?
No, when it comes to home teams,
Oh, okay.
I love it because it's like good to see, being able to keep these young, super talented players to come to a small school like BYU, which isn't a joke no more. Right? They have a really good basketball program. And to beat the likes of Kansas and a couple other people, and last year they had a surprising season in the March Madness bracket. So I love it just because I know what he's trying to do. I think he's trying to homegrown, and hopefully then they can draft into the Utah Jazz. Maybe if it goes all ways, because you guys have like 50 million draft picks too now. So I love it just because of that home team kind of thing. Other than that, me, I'm not a big NIL deal guy, but to see it happening to our hometown and to see some kind of, a little bit of showboat, that's kind of cool to see because I think it said he got paid like 4.5.
Yeah,
$7 million.
Whoa. And he's already got a deal with Nike, I think. Like
$7
he's
million.
full on. And that's a good point, Feist. That doesn't happen without NIL. Even though he's from Utah or whatever, he's going to go to, if NIL wasn't a thing, he's going to North Carolina, he's going to Kansas, he's going to Duke, whatever, you know what I mean?
Yep.
So that's where, some NIL comes in handy there.
Yeah, it's 5 million. Just to clear that up, it's something like 5 million, but then it says 7 million and something else. So it's I don't know how
some other side incentives or something like that.
Yeah.
Maybe like
something like that.
Probably has some kind of other sponsorships that he'll end up getting. But that's crazy money, dude.
Yeah,
that's the world we live in.
Yeah, he's an East Coast boy, man. He's gonna be over there. East Coast black dude is gonna be flopping around in Provo like a freaking fish out of water over there. You're not gonna know what hit him. He's gonna get off the plane. He's gonna be like, "What the hell? I should have visited."
You know what's funny is I saw this on Instagram, not appropriate at all, but they were talking about how all these cougars, these snow bunnies, white girls are gonna be all over this.
Yeah, sure are.
Just another brother getting in the club, baby. Let's go. Let's go.
There you go. Oh, man. Yeah, before we get too far to the rabbit hole, let's move along. Wanted to shout out this guy because he was probably the second NBA player that I really kind of fell in love with as a kid. Darren Williams was the first. Paul Millsap, he was the guy after that era, after that kind of debacle with Darren Williams. Jerry Sloan went down. Paul Millsap kind of carried us for a little bit before moving on to Atlanta and Denver, being multiple-time All-Star. He is retired from the NBA, so just wanted to congratulate him on a great career. I don't did he win a championship with the Nuggets? I don't
I
think he
don't think
made that first one,
I
but
don't think
he's a crazy good player, man. I don't know if you guys haven't seen it, just look it up. Just look up Paul Millsap versus Miami Heat. He had like 9 points or 11 points in 26 seconds or something, bring us back and then get us a win in overtime. It was also his career high that day and stuff like that. Like just crazy shit, man. And yeah, what a great player. So happy to see that.
definitely no rings though. That's the
No
He is a
rings.
really good player, but and he kind of has bounced around throughout teams. But I do remember that Paul Millsap, Matt Okur, whatever. Like
Mm-hmm.
after all those guys left, AK-47 also he was kind of like you said that next thing. So I got to give flowers where it's due sometimes, man. He worked hard and was a good team player.
Yeah. Oh, he played for
Yeah,
Philly for a little bit too. I
yeah,
forgot about
yeah.
that.
We got him a little later
Yeah.
in his career. How long did he
Yeah.
play for? Like 20, 15 years? Played
Yeah,
15
because
years?
he was
Did he play
I think
20 years?
no, he was drafted, I want to say around 2006 to 2008 or something like that. He was a role player to start with us.
So that means he
Um,
played
Yeah, he
16
played.
years, 17
Yeah,
years.
he played from 2006 to 2021 or 2022 basically season.
nice call.
16
So
years. My God.
That's
hey,
crazy.
Wow.
he did one rookie. Is that right? Rookie? No, never mind.
No.
It said I think he finished
Maybe
sixth
like
in the
all
rookie.
maybe he made like the Rising Stars game if they had it back then, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Now a big thing, big controversy. I want to get your guys' opinions on this. Adam Silver. It was just on a podcast. I think it was the Dan Patrick show. Dan's trying to kind of stir up some shit, and Adam wasn't saying anything. And then he's like, "Come on, there's got to be something you do to maybe change it. Is there anything you'd like?" And he brought up the idea of reducing the games to 10-minute quarters, just like the kind of like the Olympic style. I was like, initially, I wasn't too mad about the idea, just because I mean we'll get into it, a lot of it later, especially some of our players won't name names yet, but Time Philly don't fucking play anymore. So I don't know, would this reducing minutes thing help that at all? I think Adam was like it would take like 8 games off the season when you add up all the minutes or whatever, but a lot of fans, a lot of media coaches are not a fan about this. One thing that did swing me the other way, I heard, is like it's not like they're going to reduce the ticket prices, right? No
No.
chance, not at all. So yeah, if I'm paying the same amount for lesser product, yeah, I'd be fucking pissed about that. So now I'm definitely on the camp. This is bullshit. Hope it don't happen.
Well, and this has been on the table for like ever, right? Like the NBA always comes out every year saying they're gonna do something about the schedules. I mean, you got people like Paul George who plays every other game. You got players like Mr. Joel Embiid who plays every other month.
Week, a
Um,
month, yeah.
yeah, so it's not even every other day; it's every other month. So, and then you got Kawhi Leonard. Who knows when he ever is gonna be back to where he was, right? Him, he has like some health issues, but still, they've talked about reducing the schedule to 62 games. They've talked about maybe reducing it to 75. Like, I think it's one of those things. It's just them to be relevant, to stay relevant, to see. And I love Adam Silver. I think he's actually one of the best commissioners they've ever had. But it's still one of those things that it kind of has to happen and everybody has to agree on it. And those owners aren't going to lose out on that revenue from those 8 games or whatever it may be. And I think the players are on board just because they kind of pick and choose when they want to freaking play nowadays. They have these multi-million-dollar contracts. This is the hot button for me when it comes to, you know, how NIL deals are kind of my hot
Mm-hmm.
button for college football. Freaking players just not playing in the NBA. I get it. 82 games is a lot, but you're getting paid multi-million-dollar deals, and this is just irrelevant for me.
What's the point? What are they trying to do here? Who wants this? So this is a. It's got to be player driven, right? It's got to
Yep.
because you said it's and Fies. You may not heard Kyle right. The 8 games is the amount of games it would
Save
save
time. Yeah.
players' legs.
Mhm.
The minutes. It's talking about minutes, right? He ain't talking
Yeah.
about
Like
shortening the
actual
schedule.
games. Right. Yeah.
I
And
think Feist has heard though that they have had those talks as well, like shortening the season. That's another
oh,
option.
okay, yeah, that is another option. I mean, so what's going on here? So the players want a minutes restriction. The players run the league, just like Five said.
Mm-hmm.
Um, when I go out to a basketball game now, the first thing I thought, man, that's not a lot of basketball to watch, man. You're cutting 8 minutes off the game.
Yeah.
Basketball games are expensive, man, and it takes an hour and a half, 2 hours to get out to an NBA game. Cutting down the minutes, it almost de-incentivizes me,
Yeah.
and that's one thing. Are they thinking is the commissioner pushing this, and the commissioner is like, hey, the players will play harder because it's less minutes. Do you know what I'm saying? I mean, if that's the freaking case, why not play a 1 minute quarters? And now you'll get them to play really freaking hard finally, right? They'll play like
Yeah.
really hard. So I don't know. You're not solving the main problem. You're not solving is the game has changed in 2 ways. Analytics has killed the game. And then number two, I believe, and this is my old crotchety self, there is something wrong with these new freaking players, dude.
Oh,
They're not even no dogs. I don't understand what's happening. It doesn't even
oh,
make sense.
No. Hey, I'm 100% in agreement with you, man, and a whole generation behind you. You know what I mean? And it's like, it's just it's getting hard, man. I mean, I think there's like a reason. I mean, we're excited to we still love the NBA and everything. Ben Jazz fan was the first thing that
Yeah.
I ever remember being. You know what I mean? And it always will be. But this game has just definitely changed. And yeah, these players just not trying. I mean, it's crazy. Like we'll get into like the All-Star game later, but that was a whole different thing. But it's hard to watch a lot of these times. It's just changing. And I think it was Charles Barkley that brought it up like years ago at this point. But just or it might have been Stephen A. But you take your son out to a game, and let's say he's not a Utah fan. Let's say he's a Bucks fan, and he wants to see Giannis. Giannis is his favorite player, right? And I don't think Giannis does this. I'm just using him as an example, but Giannis. Oh, I'm gonna rest. Feist, we talked about it with your
I was just
boy,
about to bring
Daddy
that up.
Braun. Like
Yeah.
we bought a ticket package that was centered around the Lakers and LeBron James because we hadn't seen LeBron James play in person. And
Yep.
then I can't remember the exact injury. Maybe you do, Feist, but it wasn't like a big deal. Like he probably could have played
Yeah.
if he was
Yeah.
trying, right?
And like I was just about to say that, like how many times have we tried to go see and we're LeBron's gonna be my goat always and forever, right? And I've always tried to go watch him play, and so freaking side. But I've always tried to go play, and every time, how many times have we gone and he hasn't played,
Yeah.
right? And so I think that that's the issue. Like we're all kind of saying the same thing. The issue is the players. Like you look at the last 2 weeks of the NBA, how many stars are actually playing? If your team's in the playoffs, how many of those players are actually playing? And yes, the league has tried to fine teams now for trying to sit players, but realistically, those teams rather pay those small fines than have their players hurt and not have a chance in the playoffs. And it's like it's a continuous cycle, man, and it's never gonna really end because the players run the league. The players make multi-million dollars, some of them $1 billion, but they're just not there to compete. And that's the one thing that I agree with anybody else is the game has definitely evolved in this era in the past, like from 2000s to now, but it also has become soft. And so when I try to argue with people and they're like, oh, well, MJ went up against these dogs, I 100% agree now because you look at the players that they have now,
Hello?
it's like
Yes.
freaking my shooting arm, my form's just not right. I'm just not gonna play today. Like obviously that's not a real injury, but like a lot of them just feels like they're doing that.
Yeah.
So soft, and a league run by players.
And that's Feisty's take, man. Holy crap.
Yeah,
He's
that's hot.
on the
Coming in
kitchen.
hot, dude. He's mad. I'm mad
He's
too.
big man. Yeah.
Bro, I am furious what's happened to this game, man. I can't even take it, man. I
Yeah,
can't even take it. And when Curry takes a shot from freaking half court in the All Star game, and that's freaking cool that he does that. That's the stupidest thing I ever seen in my
That's
life.
all they're doing.
Jordan would have come up in his face and just punched him in the face, dude. And
Dude, I
then,
saw a clip of
dude,
Kobe doing that to Braun the other, or like not the other day, but like a few years ago, and like he was full court guarding him in
yes,
his face the entire time, hand in face, whatever, causing turnovers and all this shit, and the only turnovers in the All-Star game is just some lob that goes over
stupid.
somebody's head or whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah,
bro.
man.
But it's a cancer, man. Like, so my homeroom is in the gym with the jocks, and we on Thursdays and Fridays we just throw the balls out to them during homeroom, and they get to play in the morning. That's all they do is freaking jack threes, dude. That's it. That's it. It's a whole game, and the further out the better, man. And they're
yeah,
not, and then they're not even clowning. They're really doing this. I'm like,
yeah.
this game, my God, dude. Yeah.
And I was just gonna say the other part too is it's cool to an extent, right? Like what Curry has
Skillful
done
for
for this
sure.
game is definitely a change and a difference, like an impactful player. But nowadays, everybody's trying to do it, right? Like you said, Simon, you hit that right on its head. That the further you shoot and you make, the cooler apparently it is now. That's just how it is. And it's just gonna continue to get worse, and it's gonna continue to be that game. I love that the 3 pointers have developed. I actually saw this yesterday. It was saying the average score, average total game or total points in a game used to be from 80 to probably like 96. Now the average points per game is 111
Mm-hmm.
because the three has just evolved that much. And I love it. I'm a 3 point kind of guy. But there's just to an extent, right? Like there's an extent that there has to be something else that happened. This was happening when Paul George and Westbrook were together. I hated it and Carmelo Anthony, because it was like, give him the ball, let him do what he wants to do. There was nothing play calls. There was nothing like, come set a screen, the pick and roll. Like there's nothing more beautiful than a pick and roll. And I think we've forgotten that a little bit too. The only people that do it so well now are the Denver Nuggets with the Joker, and it's like as bigs are shooting threes, everybody's shooting threes.
Mm-hmm.
But at what point did we forget the small fundamental stuff?
Well, it's just so quick too. Like you're getting these shots off. It's just coming down the court, and it's 6 seconds into the shot clock. We're
Yep.
chucking up a three. I
Well,
saw earlier this season the Warriors and the Mavs. They set a NBA record for 48 made threes in a single game. Like it's just that's insane. You know what I
Kyle,
mean? Some teams were making
well,
threes in a season in the 90s.
well, the analytics suggests that the more shots, the more offensive possessions you get off,
Mm-hmm.
so you don't want to get into the shot clock. Shoot and miss, and then you'll have what? If they time it, they have all the math down. How many seconds before we got our shot up today? Okay,
Yeah.
let's get our shot up, a second earlier today, because that's going to give us 3 more possessions. And with 3 more possessions, no matter how bad the quality of the shot is, if we do the freaking math right here, it gives us 1 more point that game.
Yeah.
That's what the whole thing is. It's unbelievable. I understand that the game. I'm not mad that the game evolved. Like Fives, I
Right.
agree with you. The 3-point is
Right.
really fun. The game
Yeah.
did evolve. These guys can shoot the lights out, so that a 3-point shot, analytically speaking, is more valuable than a 2-point shot. And the
Yep.
only time that you would take a 2-point shot is when you're in a 1-point freaking game at the end of the game. And that is when you got to take your 2-point shot. It's unbelievable. And now the court is spread so far with all of these shooters all out around the perimeter that you are going to get, it's either going to be a 3-point shot, or they are going to rather not guard, or they would rather stay and guard the 3-point shooter and let a guy take a layup
Yeah.
with off ball help that usually gets there late anyways. I can't take this anymore.
But it's the math though. It's like, okay, hey, we're
Yes.
saving a point here. We're saving a point because we got 4 shooters on the other side. We'll shoot a 3, make that up.
Yes.
No problem. Yeah, the
What
game's being played on a keyboard and a mat. You know what I mean? These
and
days.
it makes sense. It's the way to win it, and it sucks. And it mathematically, it makes sense, and I hate it.
But that's the thing, though, is that the entertainment value is going down. Like, I saw Draymond Green came out, and first time in my entire life I've ever respected or agreed with anything that's come out. He said he called the NBA very boring and that the game is lacking substance. And that's 100% true. It's 100% true.
That's coming. That's probably because he can't kick anybody anymore in the groin or anything. But I mean, I wouldn't really. Yeah, Draymond Green. He probably is like, let's get physical and fight, Mister Rodman 2.0. But yeah,
you can't compare him to Rodman though. He wishes he was Rodman.
Yeah, that's true. That's like way below. Sorry, that was disrespect to our boy Rodman. But his donkey face, he may have a point, but he also has the best shooter to ever live on his team. So, and at that point when they had Clay and Kevin Durant, I mean, we could go a whole episode of this, of just how the game has changed, how it's evolved, and how much easier it is right now to really realistically score. I mean, you get LeBron coming down the paint. What's the first thing he's looking at nowadays? He has everybody's gonna corral him, and he'll just kick the rock out, right? Like, that's just how it is. LeBron's games has evolved and has had the best seasons when he has shooters all around him, because he knows everybody's just gonna collapse on him, and he could just push that sucker out to somebody else, and they'll hit that 3. So, I don't know, man.
That's a perfect way to transition into it, buddy, because let's talk about it. So, move that shocked the NBA world. He's got a guy that can shoot now. The Lakers, they traded for Luka Doncic just a few weeks ago. Anthony Davis for Luka Doncic basically was the big deal. I'll give you the full rundown. So, Mavs got Anthony Davis, Max Christie, first-round pick. The Jazz were a part of this trade. Apparently, Danny Ainge didn't know until like 30 minutes beforehand. But we got Jalen Hood Schifino, who will be released, Clippers' second 2025 round pick, and Mavericks' second round 2025 pick. And then the Lakers obviously got Luka, Max Kleber, and then Markieff Morris. But obviously, we're talking about it. Luka and Anthony Davis. Those are the big names, right? And man, this was way out of left field. Everybody in Dallas is gunning for their GM's head right now. Yeah, what are your guys' initial thoughts on this? I mean, I think it helps the Mavs. The Mavs needed a big guy like Anthony Davis for sure. I think that helps. But now, franchise player versus a very good, an all-pro, a defensive mastermind, an all-star. At times a top 5 player in the league when he's been healthy and been on the court, which we'll talk about a little later. But wow, I just remember calling you guys and just boggled my mind. How the hell could the Mavericks do this, man? What are your guys' initial thoughts on this trade?
Well, I mean, the initial trade for the Mavericks, they got a B minus, and then the Lakers got an A minus. So, a couple of things. The Mavs realistically got a player who could be a defensive player that they needed. They needed that defensive presence. And they needed, like you said, they needed that big man. But realistically, Anthony will give you 25, 10, and 4 blocks, 3 blocks, whatever, right? So, but the other concern is here we go again. Can Anthony Davis actually realistically carry a team and stay healthy? Young Anthony Davis, you would say 100% any day of the week. Anthony Davis now, it's like a 40-60 that he plays, right?
Yeah.
And I think that it makes sense to me because of Kyrie's play style and how they could work really well together off the ball, on the ball, like those pick and rolls that they can do. And I was trying to pull up the record since the trade, and I couldn't find anything yet. But I don't know
Who
if you guys can.
The Lakers or the Mavericks?
Both to kind of compare. But like,
Bro, the Lakers have gone 8. They're 8-2, man.
Yeah, 8-2 in the last 10. I think since the trade, the first game that Luka played was against the Jazz. They beat us,
Dude,
and
I think
then they
they're
played us the next day. They lost 2, and then they won 2. So they
so
lost. They had a
12,
couple of bad games. Luka looked definitely a little off.
right?
I think he's just he's coming back from a calf injury that he's been out for a long time, and two, he was very shocked by this. Like, he had no idea. He said he was about to go to sleep before he got the call. He loved Dallas. He had been like super involved in all like the city, a lot of charities he was running, all kinds of stuff. So he was
And then
pissed about it. So I think
Kyrie,
he was going through it mentally too. He struggled for a little bit, but just had his best game against the Nuggets, which were on a 9-game winning streak. But then your Daddy Braun and the Lakers beat him 123-100. So,
well,
and
they
Luka
came
had
back
his
from
best
that.
game, 32, I think 10-7 or something like that. So he had a good game, but
And, and I was gonna say too, I think that that game was like a back and forth game, but like realistically, when you look at the numbers, right, you really can't say one team or the other won because it's kind of confusing. Like when you called me, you're like, it just doesn't make sense because LeBron
yeah,
and Luka are the same players. But I was
yep.
like, well, now LeBron doesn't have to score as much. He's still like averaging 24 a game or whatever it is, 23 a game. But Luca now is carrying on the load, and that's fine for everybody on the Lakers team, except you don't have any bench players. Like that's always been the Lakers and LeBron's teams is not having bench players will always end up biting you in the butt. You can have a big two, you can have a big three, but if you don't
The
have
role
that
players.
6, 7, 8 guys that can come in and carry the load while you're taking, a 5 minute breather, it and LeBron's only freaking 40 years old, by the way. So how much longer can you really rely on his offense if he's proving us wrong, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I think ultimately, I still think, in my perspective, I would probably say the Lakers won this one just because of having LeBron give you still 23, freaking 8-8, and you have Luca who can give you 25 plus and 10-10 or 10-8, whatever it is. So to me, long term wise, they're looking at it as um, a investment for when LeBron leaves because now you got to look at it. This is Luca's team, right? And they're
Yep.
looking at that perspective. I saw a tweet. I don't know if I sent it to you. This guy said, "Oh gosh, I wish I would have sent it to you guys." But this guy predicted that Luca would be on the Lakers team and that they would win the NBA championship and LeBron would take the crown
Oh
and
yeah,
had it. I don't know if you saw
I
that. Did
did
you
see
did you guys
somebody
see
say
that?
something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and that he would
very
hand it
likely.
off to freaking Luca.
Here we go again, Simon.
I'm all for it, baby. Let's go. Give my guy 5 rings, baby. Give my guy 5 rings. Thunder, I love you. You're doing great. One more year. One more year is all I ask,
Oh
bro.
my goodness, his team is the best in the West, the
Five,
best in the league, and he's like, "No, no, give me one more year."
five. I just need 5, bro. And realistically, I need 6 and 6. But Simon, go ahead, man.
Is this another example of you bragging about championships you weren't even freaking born
Okay,
to be
LeBron's
in?
championships I was born for.
My
Okay.
God.
Okay?
My
He just
God.
was
LeBron,
wrong
I took
way
a
too
bullet for
early.
that man, dude. That's how serious you should find out the love that I have for LeBron. I put my posters down actually. When it was his birthday, we did a whole sacrifice thing and like it was amazing.
But okay, all right, whatever. That's for another time. But the Lakers, the Lakers made out like the mob, dude. Luca's probably the best scorer in the freaking game, dude. The dude, I mean, if he wanted to average 35 points a game, he could average 35 points a game.
Mm-hmm.
You don't win with bigs anymore. You want, and I know Joker is the outlier. He is
Yeah,
an outlier.
Yes,
He
right.
can
he's not a
play the
traditional
perimeter.
big by any
He
means.
is not.
Nope.
You are not going to win like that. Trust me. I've been watching Philadelphia try to do it for about 8 years now. You are
Yeah.
not going to win like that anymore. They just got another perimeter player. this is a I I don't even know what the Mavericks were. I have no idea
Let me tell you
what
what
the
they
hell
said.
was happening.
Let me tell
God.
you what they said. They at least what they said. So the GM, I'm blanking on his name. If someone wants to look that up while I'm saying this, maybe. But he said, and I quote: "We really feel like we got ahead of what was going to be a tumultuous summer. Him being a year away from being eligible for the Supermax, and also a year away from him being able to opt out of any contract. And they were concerned about his conditioning."
Yeah, he was
Um,
too fat.
yeah. So they were getting a little mad about that, apparently. And I mean, I don't know. I don't know if you guys saw the video last year, but I think they had just won a series or something. And Luca was just standing on the wall with his beer in his hand. And I think that people were saying that it was the GM that came, grabbed the beer out of his hand, and just walked away.
His name is
Just took it
Nico
away from him.
Harrison.
Nico Harrison, thank you. And so, yeah, apparently they're worried about him being fat. Hey, I'll tell you what, Simon, you just said it, and we just talked about Jokic. I don't think Jokic is anywhere near six pack, and he's the best fucking damn player in the world right now.
Yo,
And Luka is right there with him. Like you said, if he wanted to average 35, he certainly could, man. I watched it firsthand when the Jazz were still in the playoffs, and he just knew there was nothing we could do. Not a single thing. And he doesn't move fast. He's not
No.
LeBron James. He's not Anthony Edwards. He's not these crazy athletic, but he's still torching us. You know what He's still torching your favorite team for 40, 50 whenever he fucking wants to. So, yeah, this is just insane. And I really feel bad for Luka in the sense because, and you know what? Like you said, the Lakers made out like a mob sign. They don't have to pay him the supermax.
No.
He's ineligible now.
Yeah.
Luca just lost out on almost $100 million guaranteed because of this trade. I
Yeah.
couldn't imagine how pissed I'd be. Not only that I don't get to stay with the team that I wanted to be with, but for them to do that like that to him at that point, that is some serious fucked up shit.
I yeah. As far as the weight is concerned, he'll lose weight. He's real young.
Mhm.
And you can mess around and you can hold weight like that when you're young, like Barkley did and stuff like that. But you're gonna reach a point where you can't hold. You're gonna start to get hurt and injured, and that's not going to be an issue. I don't think that'll be an issue with.
Well, and
Uh,
Charles, speaking of him, he came out and
yeah,
said he views this as a mentorship. Obviously, like you said, Fi's handing of the crown, handing of the keys to Luca, where who's the best maybe conditioned athlete of all time that spends millions of dollars on his body every year and is still
Joel
kicking it
Embiid.
at 40. Huh?
Joel Embiid, the
Yeah, that
greatest
is the
conditioned
guy.
athlete of all time. I thought that's
Yeah.
who you're talking
That's
about.
who I was taught. Number two, maybe. No. LeBron James, obviously, right? That dude is ripped and has been his entire career. So that's a perfect, like, you pick up a few habits from LeBron with what Luca's
Sure,
already have. Holy shit, dude. Like, that's
sure.
good. Yeah.
well,
Long term, Lakers 1000%, man.
My
right.
Obviously.
God, yes.
To give, to not, to be concerned about, Luca would have signed the deal, man. I mean, I don't know. To be fair, I have seen, like, both Donovan and Rudy signed their extensions, but they got traded technically, but everybody kind of knew they didn't want to be there. We were moving on, but you do see it's when you sign those contracts, it's not guaranteed anymore that they're gonna be there for those 5 years or whatever it is. But I think Luca would have been there, man. They just made the finals. They just went to the
I
finals last year
don't
with him.
get it. I don't understand.
Stupid, man. Stupid. And I
So,
imagine being a Dallas fan. I mean, Vice, you know exactly what it's like.
Good
Too
thing
bad you're
is
not a
I'm not
Mavericks
a.
fan.
At least I'm not a Mavericks fan because it seems like Dallas owners are just stupid as hell and don't
Well, I
know what
think
the hell's
Cuban
going.
didn't want this. I think Cuban had nothing to do with it. I
no,
think he
he was.
came out and said he was pissed about it.
Yeah,
But
he
you
was
know,
No,
he
like, "What
doesn't.
the hell is that?"
He gave up. I think he doesn't have 51% anymore or
yeah, I
whatever.
think he
Some
doesn't
other
have
guru
majority stake
has
anymore.
it.
But
He was pissed about it. Yeah.
even then, dude, like you would have to be stupid to make it a deal like this. Like Anthony Davis does not have an upside. He definitely has a downfall from what could happen to him, right? And you have Kyrie. Yep, Kyrie Irving, the same thing. The guy doesn't even know what team he's gonna play for. I mean, long term wise, but it to me it doesn't make sense, and it runs in Dallas. Teams in Dallas are just stupid. They're gonna continue to be stupid. You just gave Lakers the key to this NBA playoffs. Oh, bro,
How do
you
they
have
do it,
LeBron
man?
lock in, and
Fine,
you
you've
have
seen it
Luca
for
lock in.
years. Ugh. But
Yeah,
they just keep getting these players. Like, didn't they trade for? Obviously, they traded for Shaq. Didn't they trade for Wilt? I mean, like they just keep getting these superstars, man. It's crazy
How
to
do you
franchise
watch.
like
guys.
how do you like the biggest asshole teams in the world, Fies? I hate the Lakers.
I don't
He
like the
only likes it
Lakers.
because
I
of
like
LeBron.
LeBron.
He's a Thunder fan. He
Yeah, I'm a Thunder.
technically, but he's such a
Hate the
LeBron
Lakers.
glazer that yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we all hate the Lakers. We hated the Lakers when they played the Jazz and the Lakers. I remember in fifth
Oh
grade,
yeah,
kids would
Kobe.
be like, "Oh, I'm a LeBron, I'm a Lakers fan,"
Yeah.
and you
We
live in
hated him.
Utah. I never made sense to me. Like I would always fight kids about it. But I'm a LeBron fan. I'll go to LeBron wherever he goes, bro. But realistically, I'm a Thunder fan,
Well,
and
sorry,
that's their
Simon. We
come.
got a lot more Lakers to talk about. Not even this. They made another trade with their rookie Dalton Knet, Cam Reddish, first round pick in a pick swap for the Hornets' Mark Williams, a center who they've been looking for. We've been talking about they needed a big guy. And that lasted like 2 seconds because apparently he failed a physical. And then he came out and said that was bullshit. That I was in my best physical condition that I've been in. I've been playing consistently, high minutes every single night. And he is saying that the Lakers did this to him and that they just didn't want the trade to go through, so they were like falsifying this shit or something. I don't know. It was a weird situation for sure.
I mean, they probably made a mistake and said, "Yeah, not this guy. This guy's not gonna work out. I will just go pick up Dwight Howard or something from freaking
He still
Asian
wants
League."
to play. He keeps saying
So
it. Was such a weird situation. And then they traded old boy Ison Irvine's D'Angelo Russell back to the Brooklyn Nets. He goes back and forth, back and forth. Nobody really wants him anymore. Yeah, so lots of Lakers trades and weird shit going down, but they're definitely going to be set up, man. And LeBron's a perfect mentor, and they're doing all right, man. They are 2.5 games out of second place in the West right now. Like they haven't really been this high in a few years, so this will be interesting to see. Let's move along to Sacramento because they had some big things happening. A long time ago, we haven't talked about it yet, though. They fired head coach Mike Brown, and this was a little interesting. I don't know what's happened to the Kings this year. They're 28 right now, sitting right on the borderline of making the play-in tournament. But they were, I think, was it last year or 2 years ago? They were third in the West. They got Sabonis, they had Fox and everything. And speaking of him, he is traded to San Antonio in a 3-team trade. So this was apparently his preferred destination. In the trade, the Kings got Zach LaVine, Spurs guard City Sissoko, 3 first-round picks and 3 second-round picks. So Kings definitely made out like Kings as far as their assets they got from it. And then the Bulls got a 23 first-round pick, Zach Collins, Trey Jones, and Kevin Huerter. And then the Spurs obviously got De'Aaron Fox and then Jordan McLaughlin. So definitely a great running mate for Wemby. I think that'll be an interesting pairing going forward. But yeah, what do you think about Fox to San Antonio? Think that'll be
well,
a good enough move?
he definitely has the upside too. Like you look at De'Aaron Fox, he's probably what 24, 25 now, maybe 26.
Yeah, maybe 26, maybe.
Yeah, and you have a mentor like CP3 there who's been in the league for freaking ages now and who continues to dominate. And you have
27,
Fox,
by the way.
he's what?
27.
27.
Yep.
27.
So he still has a good upside. He at one point he was one of the fastest NBA players out, and I
Probably
think he
still
still
up
has
there.
that explosive.
Mhm.
Yeah, he still has that explosive. And you tie him up with the alien for probably another 3 years, 4 years at best. Like, oof, I like that move. I definitely like that move. I think that the Spurs knew what they were doing. And then I think the other part that was a win for a team is the Bulls. They wanted to get rid of Zach LaVine for I don't know how long.
Yeah, he's
They
been in
just
trade
couldn't
talks
find
for
a
years. The Jazz were
yeah.
like rumored for him for a while, but he's got a super expensive contract too. I
He,
don't think
he
he's
does.
living
And
up
so
to
for
it.
him to go to the Kings, I think that's a perfect fit because they could absorb that contract, but at the same time, I don't see them being any more successful than they were. Um, and for some reason, man, the Kings look like they're having an upside, and then they just have a big old landslide and freaking have a
Everything
downfall.
just fucking blows up, man. Like
Yeah,
I thought this team would be a legit contender, like in the West. Like I said, a year or two ago, and now it's just full on rebuild again.
yep. And they have DeMar DeRozan too now, don't they? So it's like
Mm-hmm.
you have you have the superstars. It's just something about that franchise does not work, and it doesn't seem right that they're sitting in the freaking 10th spot, being 10-10, like,
Right.
or sorry, 28-28. It just doesn't it for the caliber of players that they have. I just don't get that. So
Yeah.
good for the Bulls to get rid of Zach LaVine, though. That's the big. I think for me, that's a big win, and then for De'Aaron Fox to go to the Spurs is a big win.
Yeah. And you were speaking of his running mate, Victor Wembanyama. Some terrible news on him. He is out for the rest of the season. He had a blood clot in his right shoulder, so could potentially be very dangerous, especially if you keep playing on it. I know that's the kind of stuff that ended Chris Bosh's career. But there are reports he's expected to be good to go by next season. So that'll be awesome, but definitely bad for the NBA. We were talking about the entertainment value. You know what I mean? That Victor Wembanyama brings a lot to the NBA. You want to see what this alien can do, man. So this is it's gonna be hurtful for the Spurs. They're gonna. I mean, they are already kind of struggling still, 24-31 towards the bottom of the West. Not quite with Utah or anything like that, but yeah, definitely still struggling. I think you go full on rebuild here. And then some more sad news for them. Greg Popovich, we had known he had been out with some health issues. He is not going to return for this season as well. So very bad turn of events for the San Antonio Spurs, even after they got De'Aaron Fox.
Yeah, the Wemby thing's concerning. I mean, what people are saying is that deep vein thrombosis, that stuff can reoccur. You don't mess with that stuff, man.
Nope.
And you can't really go in surgically or do anything about it. You got to dissolve the clot usually, and that takes forever to dissolve a blood clot. Then you got to be on blood thinners and all that crap. I mean, I just hope it doesn't continue because I love watching the guy play.
Yeah.
He is like an alien. He's like an alien out there. And he's probably going to win Defensive Player of the Year. Was probably going to win Defensive Player of the Year. Obviously, he's not going to be eligible now for the award. And it's fun to watch him play defense too. I love watching defense. So I mean, yeah, that bites. Sucks.
Yeah, you're talking about a guy that's going to be, I think, if he can, come back, be healthy and everything, a multiple time MVP, could carry this league. Like he's just he's so freakishly talented. So yeah, it's definitely sad, but definitely wish the best for him. Hope that he gets healthy soon.
Yeah.
100%. Hey, let's move on to Feist's first or second team. We don't know, depending on the day, obviously, depending on what LeBron's doing. The Thunder, they got some big news going on. So a while ago, our boy Alex Caruso got a 4-year, $81 million extension with the Thunder. I know, Feist, you've been high on him since he's been traded to the Thunder, and you are obviously watching closely. So obviously the Thunder like him, and I assume fans are big fans of him as well. You like this move? You like locking him down for another 4 years?
Yeah, I mean, I told you, I think when we first did an NBA shoot, I remember telling you Alex Caruso is going to be able to develop with these young guys and contribute to that team because he brings that defensive mentality. He's a good team first player, and he's willing to do whatever the team needs done. I mean, it was sad for the Bulls to let him go for basically nothing. But it helps us. Now there's a reason why we're the best defensive team on the league. And he brings in a little bit of, because I think he is probably the oldest one on the team. He brings in, or at least one of them, he brings in that veteran presence to be able to help and mentor that young group of guys we have. So I love it. I think that this is a good move for them in long term wise. Like I said, last year I said it, right? I was like, the Thunder are just not there, and they just need one more year. And I think this is the year where they make a deep run, but I also still think that they probably come short. Not because I want LeBron to win, but I just think that even then, I still think they just need one more year together and to push on to realistically put the best team forward. Because they have a good team, and that's what it shows, man. It really shows when you have the guy, which is SGA, and then you have just a bunch of supporting cast all around him, and you have a bench who's developed really well that all really rally around everybody, and you can't win this league no more with big threes or big twos or just a big superstar. You need supporting cast, and this is what we have. And I love Alex Russo because he is a big part of that supporting cast.
Yeah, man, dude, you got a 9-game lead in the Western Conference.
Yeah.
That's insane, and you guys are playing well, dude. I think that last year was kind of. I feel like last year might have been that year with you guys where I felt like you were still that good, and you might just have been a year away. I mean, if you keep, I think a big thing, if you keep Chet healthy, if he's able to make it into the playoffs, SGA can get buckets from wherever he needs
Yeah.
to. And oh
Yeah.
my God, and talk about Jalen Williams, an all-star, man. Like that's
Yeah.
crazy. And I was watching
Second
it.
year.
I made it a half into the game against the Jazz last week where you guys just absolutely torched us. It was just some hard basketball to watch because it was just a clear difference in talent level. But you guys could hit threes from anywhere. Anybody could get going. Like I mean, there were guys I never heard of a guy. I can't remember who it was because I'd never heard of him before. But he just started hitting a few threes in a row. And the guy we can never remember his name, Hartenstein. He's a big,
Hammerstein.
a big pickup for you guys. You know what I mean? So I think you guys are the real deal. Now, yeah, you do worry Jokic, and now Murray has decided to start playing again. He's starting to be good.
I
And,
wonder why those playoff games are coming close. I wonder why.
and then obviously your other boy that you love, Westbrook, has been really good role for them, and they're gonna have the experience in the playoffs. I think that'll be interesting to see. But I think the Thunder got a real shot, man. And some other news: SGA, he's up for that supermax extension, and he just split with his agent. I don't know if you heard about this. So he just split with them. I don't know if this is like for money reasons, just because
He's like,
SGA
give
is
me
gonna
all the
get
money.
he's gonna get the extension, right? Like
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if you guys know anything more about this. Do you just get a lawyer? Do you just hire a lawyer? Be like, hey, does this contract look okay? Like, can you just look over this for me? And then he doesn't have to pay his agent whatever, the 10%, the 15% or whatever. Because I mean, the way it is in the NBA now, if you're that level of player, which SGA is, you're just gonna get the super max, whatever you can
Right.
sign for.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure. All I know is the dude deserves it, every penny of it. He is the guy. And you look at the West, and we're 46 and something,
46-10.
46 and
46 and
10.
10.
So the next closest team is 9 wins away, like 9.5 games basically. I mean, you're realistically looking at the the Grizzlies aren't going to be there. The Nuggets are probably our toughest team, but then you have the Lakers who could also creep in there. So he definitely deserves it. And if he gets them to the Western Conference Finals this year, yeah, it don't matter, dude. I wouldn't even look at the contract. I'd just sign it and say, just give him that back because he definitely deserves it.
Yeah, man. Even that foul baiting ass or whatever they call him, Did you see the chant where they called him I can't remember what crowd it was, but they were calling him foul baiter, like at the
Uh-uh.
line. Yeah, they were doing the foul baiter, and he
He
laughed
does.
at it.
He does go on the line a lot, dude.
Yes,
He
but
does draw contact so
shout
well.
shout out to our boy Sean. He looked up like the stats and stuff. I think he's not even in the top 10 on free throw like percentage, or not like percentage, but
Attempts.
like yeah, or whatever,
Attempts.
as much as he goes. And I remember when I was watching that game, I kept wanting to text Sean about it, but I was like, I'm gonna wait and send him a video until the first time SGA goes to the line. I had to wait until 4 minutes left in the second quarter, the first time he went to the line. So I was like, hey, man, baby. I was like, I'm never going to send it. But yeah, he's a special talent, man. He's just different. I don't know if you guys have heard of The Court of Gold on Netflix. It's a new documentary about the Olympics. It must watch. It is amazing. It follows USA, obviously, Canada, which SGA was a part of, Serbia, and France.
This is
and
the
their
last
journeys.
Olympics, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
man, it is amazing. So definitely make that a watch. And SGA was awesome to see in there. How much he cares, and like how much those teams cared about the Olympics. You know what I mean? And that's kind of part of it. Let's just kind of get into it because we just saw this with hockey. So we'll kind of get into this four nations face off. I wanted to talk about this and compare it to the NBA All Star game because this was the hockey's version of the All Star game. What they did was they had four nations: USA, Canada, Finland, and Sweden playing a little tournament style bracket for what was it, a week and a half or something like that. And I'm not a hockey guy, never really have been. And I can tell you, I saw this meme. It was amazing. It was just some drunk guy getting super emotional about the national anthem, and it said me or like cheering for USA in the Four Nations face off after not even knowing it existed 7 days ago. And I was like, hell fucking yeah, I was in it, man. And that was so much fun to watch. And I'm starting to understand a little bit more about hockey. And all those players played, man. Every player that could play played. They in hockey, man, they play with crazy injuries, and they don't announce it. They don't do that whole bullshit. If you can go, you go. And these players in games that had nothing. There was no there was no Olympic medal. It didn't help them in their NHL season. They put on a clinic and an amazing show that USA just came so short. And Canada, you still got one sport on us. You got hockey. That's your thing. All right, fine. But man, what a crazy show for that. And then the NBA All-Star game. Holy crap. Was that just the stupidest shit that I have ever even heard of? Dude, I'll be honest, I haven't watched the All-Star game in I don't know how long, and I saw clips from this, and it was just stupid, man. They didn't even play a real game. It was a tournament style. There was four teams. It was supposed to make it a little more interesting. You're only playing to like a certain point total instead of like a full game. But they kept breaking like the game up, and the players apparently didn't even know about this. But Kevin Hart would come in and do some stupid ass joke routine for 5 minutes, and nobody even knew what he was fucking talking about. You had Mr. Beast come out there, have a fan do a shoot off with Damian Lillard. Shaq and the boy, everybody just do, and in the middle of the game, it wasn't a halftime show. It was just like every 10 minutes they were bringing these guys in, and lo and behold, no NBA players showed any effort whatsoever in the All Star game. And Vice, you know that I'm not as big of a LeBron fan as you are, but I am a LeBron fan, and as I've always loved him. That's been our generation. That's who we grew up watching. 20 it was like an hour before the all-star game was supposed to start. He said he wasn't playing with fucking foot soreness, dude. I've never really been so pissed at LeBron, but that was kind of a bullshit move in my
Yeah.
opinion, man. I mean, you're the
Yeah.
face of the league. What are you doing here? You're not even playing a real fucking game. And you see him do all the pictures without a uniform on and do it like, I think it was, I can't remember what the meme was, but it was the first player in NBA history to ever to rest an all-star game or something like that. Load manage an all-star game. That's what it was. Simon, you know that term very well,
Yeah,
obviously.
sure
But
do.
man, I mean, yeah, obviously, let's like I want to open it to you guys. I know that was a lot there talking about the hockey game, the amazing tournament that it was, and the bullshit all-star game. Do we have any way? I mean, we just saw the NHL figure it out. And I think like it gained a fan in me. I want to pay more attention to hockey now, 100%. And I think that they got a lot of people that are going to pay a lot more attention to it. I think that was a huge success. That was a win. And what's the problem for the NBA? They need more viewership, right? They're losing it. They're not getting all the attention. Is there a way for the NBA to fix it, do something similar like that, or are they just fucked? What do you guys think?
Yeah, I don't know what they can do. They're trying to do everything they can. They're just throwing stuff against the wall. I think they're screwed, man. The product, they got great athletes on the floor. The product sucks, dude. Hockey's been the same I've been watching hockey for 40 years, man. The game is very similar. The player attitudes are very similar.
Yeah.
Um, the ratings were through the roof. 9.1 million viewers, like 9.6 at its peak. The NBA All Star All-Star game had 4 million viewership at its peak. Not even close. Hockey is it's a small sport, obviously, with small
Yeah.
fandom compared to the NBA. I thought it was awesome. I can go on forever about it, man. And we got a ton of hockey fans here in Philly. The Flyers are a big deal here, and you guys are lucky to have a hockey town now.
Yeah.
It's a great sport, man, and financially, you can buy season ticket packages and not have what I mean. You not get priced out. I mean it's a great sport, man. And your question that you posed, man. I mean, the proof was in the pudding. You saw the product that was put on TV. That freaking All-Star game is the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen in my entire life, man.
Mm-hmm.
It's unbelievable. You had 4 people announcing the game at the same time. You had all these breaks going on. Who cares that Barkley and Kenny Smith and Shaq and Cadence are coaching anything? I do not care. It was freaking horrible. It sucks. Great. These guys can dunk and shoot the ball from really far away. That's so cool. It's so stupid. All right. But I'm not the
Yeah.
only one, man.
Nope.
I'm not being a crotchety old man. The viewership is going like this,
Yes.
I'm not the only one
No.
that's voicing my opinion like this. You must be out of your mind. By the way, LeBron dropped like 40 points like 2 days later or some crap like that.
Yeah, he had an amazing game. One of the craziest dunks we've seen. I mean, what
Wait, wait,
impressive
wait,
on the Hornets or whatever.
Before you get to that,
Dude,
I
he's such
mean,
a dick, dude. He's such a little dick.
before you get to that, like that's the one part that I do agree with you, Simon. He is literally a big dick for what he did, because you imagine some of the people that were buying tickets to that All-Star game just to see LeBron, and I honestly I would be one of those people, right? Like it would piss me off. Like you're
Well,
here
you
at the
know what?
All-Star game where the
Something else
cheapest
too.
ticket.
Something else is, a lot of these guys, they get an all-star on their resume, and that increases what they can get paid, even if they're a replacement. So like
Right.
somebody could have replaced LeBron if he would have just announced that he was going to pull this move. To do it within 40 minutes of the game starting. Crazy.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt, but yeah.
I mean,
that's
I look at it the fan perspective. I get the player perspective, right? Like that helps out a rookie who can end up making. They're on their last year of their contract. They can help them out. But for me, like looking at it from a fan perspective, right? Like you pay. I think the cheapest tickets when they were here at the Utah Jazz, it was like 1,500 to 2 grand maybe. Those were the cheapest ticket for upper bowl. Like that's how crazy those tickets can get. It's not cheap. All-Star games are meant for celebrities and people with money to come out and showboat. The biggest crowd pleaser is going to be the dunk contest every year. Every year that steals the show. And actually, I shouldn't say every year. The last couple of years when Aaron
Yeah,
Gordon
it's
did it,
been a while. I mean, like I
and
know I'm biased, but the last time I had a good time watching it was when Donovan Mitchell won it in his rookie year, and he had some exciting dunks. He was kind of a well-known name. Larry Nance was a little bit his competitor, but even then, I mean, that's a big thing that I think Stephen A. always talks about with LeBron. Like LeBron's never done this contest. He never will,
yeah,
obviously, but
He
he's been
did. He
one of
did
the
it
best.
once. He did it
I don't.
once.
I don't think he has, Sam. I really don't think he has.
yeah, he hasn't done. That's why they use these young guys that are coming up to play. Like you get John Morant in that dunk contest.
Yeah.
How exciting would that be? Like you get Westbrook at his prime to come in and do the dunk contest. How exciting would that be? Like you have Dwight Howard who basically did the impossible and did the Superman, and that exploded. You have Blake Griffin. You have Aaron Gordon. Like these guys, sometimes it's a career defining thing. And that's really
Michael
usually what's the
Jordan.
most exciting part. And then you have the 3-point contest, and that's sometimes exciting too. Other than that, All-Star game, dude, I really don't remember. Every year I'm like, I'm gonna record it. I record it and never even watch it again because I just have stuff going on. But like, I never watch it because it's like you just hear about it every year how terrible it is. The NFL needs to do better, and the NBA needs to do better with this All-Star thing that they're doing.
Yeah, like I said, I've been an NBA fan since that's the first thing I can pretty much remember, as being a Jazz fan and everything. And the NHL got a guy that never really has watched a hockey game in his life. I've been to like some Grizzlies games. We have a AAA team or whatever you call it in Utah. And I've been to a couple of those, and they're fun. They're definitely fun to
Yeah.
go to. But like, they got a guy that never cared a lick about hockey to be fully invested, glued to my TV, like cheering on USA and wanting to freaking cry when Canada hit the last goal. You know what I mean? And they did that. And some players are saying that like the NBA, if they do Team USA versus the world, kind of a similar thing. But the problem is the players still aren't going to try. The NBA players still aren't going to try,
Exactly.
even if they did.
Or they will load manage themselves out of it. So
Mm-hmm.
don't even think for a second they're going to do some kind of European USA tournament, man.
And
This
even
is
if they do,
not
it's just
how
not
it
going to work.
is.
It's not going to work. You might think that there'll be a kit, but it really isn't. I think the only thing I can realistically think of, and Simon Baseball does this, right, where the All-Star game determines who each
Yeah.
conference gets to get the home field advantage.
Yeah, but
Even then, I don't know
they
how
haven't
much you would
they
care.
haven't noticed any yes, that they have done that, but they haven't been able to quantify that the players are playing harder. Do you know what I mean? They can't,
Yeah.
so that the evidence is not there that suggests that if you put that incentive in there. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe pay them each $1 million. Maybe pay the winner $1 million each, and
Yeah.
and you know what I mean. NBA throws out $15-20 million for the winning team. Yeah, maybe that would work. But I
I
mean,
will I will say though, like the only time you've ever seen them compete was when they were doing that charity thing, like a few years ago. They were fighting for charity, and I think they were doing it for HBC schools, and so a lot of them were able to actually like play for the charity that they were doing, and I think that was the most competitive like all-star game I've ever seen. And then maybe the year after Kobe's passing, that was very competitive too. And other than that, it's been like not interested. I won't watch it. Like I'll see the dunk contest and I'll see the 3-point contest. The Rising Stars Challenge, way more competitive, like way more interesting than the
Yeah.
actual NBA All Star game.
Yeah,
So
and I think it comes down to money and the players caring. That's you got to find a way to get that to figure. I
bro,
think that's the only way.